Live. We're live. We're live again. We are live again. Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello, my lady. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime girl.
How you doing, Drake?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just
Got some cameras on. Got some
got some
cameras on.
cameras. Yes. Cameras on for people who had seen prior episodes of the previous podcast that we were doing. We did a lot of camera work there, and the Drake for the past two episodes has been had technical difficulties. Drake, out of everyone that I've ever met, and I've made this point several times, and I'll make it several times again. Uh, Drake is very well versed in technology. He's very good at doing things. Very good at diagnosing and understanding technology and electronics. Yet he is the only person that I have met that has been subjected to the wildest range of bugs and issues and stuff that we can just never solve, that literally like not even anyone on Google has experienced. And like it's just like there was times where it's like we were trying to get like trying to game, and it's like his Wi-Fi wouldn't work, but he had no idea why his Wi-Fi wouldn't work. We couldn't figure it out. It was like, I think he actually had a technician come to his house, and the technician was like, I don't know what to tell you, bud. Like stuff like that happens all the time. And that's the exact same thing that happened with his camera. We just have no idea why it wasn't working. Um, we scrapped it in the first
Yeah.
episode because we thought that our cameras would work just fine. Mine was even working in the first episode. Second episode, same thing, never worked, and then all of a sudden it just randomly started working just fine. So, yeah, Drake's definitely got some bugs crawling around his room, also because he's generally untidy. So it's just there's just actual bugs too. But
What?
no, I'm just fucking
I'm,
around.
I'm
Yeah,
decently,
I did.
decently tidy. You
I
know.
hope hope everyone had a good September and October. We're rolling into the spooky season now, the fun season, the murder season, the serial killer season, the true crime, season. I think true crime stemmed from like October, obviously. Like I think like people just love all the horror and all that kind of stuff. So, which is kind of what leads us
Yeah.
into
Honestly,
today.
a little bit, a little bit of leading, a little bit of not leading.
Uh,
Back to Luke's point on like my technical difficulties. Because I have so many technical difficulties, I went to school for like computers and shit just to like learn how to be able to fix all my like repair the screens and cell phones or anything like that, rewire my car when that something goes wrong inevitably with my wiring, which it has and I've needed to, so it just a large pain in the butt,
and it's still
large pain in
difficult for
the
him to figure it out.
ass.
Yeah, it's very difficult
And
for him
I
to figure
wire
it
it perfectly and then it just doesn't work still, and it's not my wiring, I don't know, it's my bane.
It really is though. Like I said, it's just it hinders you on a, I'd say, weekly basis, not a daily basis. You do have the day, but like on a weekly basis, something goes
Yeah.
wrong in your life, technology wise, whether it's at home or work, and it causes a big issue. So, Drake, why don't you tell the folks here a little bit about what we are planning on doing in this episode?
I think this episode we are actually going to do a little bit of philosophy, falafel. We're going to do a little bit of philosophy. Something that I've been kind of into lately is philosophy and kind of like metaphysics and ethics and whatnot, and it just kind of interests me in how the um, differences in thinking and stuff like that, like utilitarianism and whatnot. Um, and so today we have a website that I found that kind of goes through some like ethical dilemmas or moral dilemmas and whatnot. And we can go through, we can answer it, we can talk about the questions, we can talk about which way we would answer it if we have a difference in how we, and if we have a difference in opinion on the answer, or if we would agree, we can talk about why we agree. And then when we get to the results, it'll tell us the results, and we can kind of like, um, just go over the results as well. You do a couple of those for a little bit, and I kind of thought that would be interesting to take a look at.
See, I think it's interesting. A perfect caveat to that, like I said, and I'll tie this into the spooky season and the serial killers and all that stuff, is like I alluded to in the previous episodes, is how close you, I think, are with having good parents. That there isn't. a plethora of people scattered about, where you live, because of who you are. Like, you're bad parents away from being a different person. You're bad parents away from me being 6 feet under, because you just wanted to know how that
I
felt.
think,
Like,
I think you can say that for most people, though.
100% though,
Is
100%. Same with me. Like,
like that? But I mean, at the same time, though, like I do think that because I have like a high amount of empathy, I'm able to like place myself in people's shoes and like feel exactly how they're feeling pretty easily. I think that has like stopped me from being a psychopath
yeah,
as opposed to like a sociopath, if that
yeah.
makes sense. There's a distinction between the two for sure. And I mean, I suppose you can make that argument for anybody. If anybody didn't have empathy, then they could be a psychopath. But I think there's like a certain set of characteristics, that a person needs to actually meet the psychopath like nature,
Yeah.
and that's usually why you see like a lot of those high end CEOs are psychopaths,
Yeah, like,
most of them are. I'm not gonna say all, because I mean I'm not, I can't say any technically because I don't know any, but I mean most of them I would say
you just
like
this
you
is
kind
your
of just
time.
gotta be.
This is your time where you just spill the beans and just whistle blow like
Yeah.
six,
Yeah,
six
right.
people you
Fucking
know.
Zuckerberg, fucking Bezos. Me and the
Oh,
Zuck
man.
dude.
Yeah. So like I said, people, like, if philosophy isn't your thing, stick around, because you're gonna see
Yeah.
these answers that we're gonna and as close as Drake and I are, and as much as we're best of friends and stuff, there's gonna be some of the questions in here where we're probably gonna be torn on those based off of our experiences and our life, our life lessons and growing up. So follow along. Even put the answers in the, if you answer yourself or whatever, keep track of how you answer it. Let us know what your percentage is or what you come through with at
Yeah.
the end,
Let us
what your
know who
score
you
is.
agree with more. Like
Yeah.
at the end, after we're done with doing all this, let us know which one of us you'd agree with. If there's a difference in Luke and I, obviously we haven't really done one of these before with each other. I've done a few personally myself.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we're doing
but
this blind,
Luke
people.
hasn't really done this,
We
so I
haven't
mean,
done this yet
yeah,
together. This is blind. Like, this is literally, we have not sat down and gone over any of this. This is literally,
yeah,
Drake sent me the episode. This is my first time loading it up. We went through it and kind of clicked on some to make sure that they were working
just to
and
make
everything.
sure it worked. Yep.
And this is our first time going through together, reading the questions and answering how we answer. So some of these we're going to agree on, some of them we're not, and we're going to have to kind of pinpoint and come to the right decision on which one we should answer for that reason. Kind of debate,
Yeah.
as you will, what they are. So let's get into it. I'm going to switch over here.
Well, hang on, 1 second before we start with this. I do have one question to bounce off our last episode here, that I want to get you what you think on. Okay, what to you is the opposite of spicy?
That's a good question. Opposite of spicy. I would honestly say just bland, like tasteless. Like, that's what I would say. Like, something that's very unseasoned, like just if you were to cook raw chicken and have nothing on it. You know what I mean? That's what I think about. Like, my initial response was I was going to say sweet, but spicy isn't on the same spectrum in terms of spices as sweet. You know what I mean? That's a whole different,
Mhm.
that's sugar versus salt, cayenne, all those things that you'd have, pepper, all that stuff. So I just go from the gradient of spice then. So for me, the opposite of spicy, which is generally a pretty decent amount of something or a concentrated amount of one spice that's creating that spiciness, to just being bland, nothing at all. No,
Yeah.
that's the opposite of what I would say would be the opposite of spicy.
Okay. For me, I would say the opposite of spicy is minty.
Minty, interesting. Why?
Minty.
Why?
So this is all definitionally as well. Spicy, when you're saying something is spicy, not like it's um, it's because of capsaicin in the peppers.
Yep.
That interact with like the taste buds on your tongue and produce like a hot, like a heat feeling.
Yep.
So that's what spice is. Well, what's mint? Mint is, I don't know what it is specifically. It's not, it's something similar to capsaicin that interacts with your taste buds and produces a cold feeling.
Interesting. Okay.
So where spicy makes your mouth hot, mint
Yeah.
makes your mouth cold. What's the opposite of hot?
Cold. Okay.
Cold.
I can
Cold.
understand that.
Yeah. So I mean, so the opposite of spicy is minty.
But okay, I will argue that point though. Then how come they don't use mint to help neutralize it?
Because you're activating, so that has to do with the taste buds being activated. So because you're activating the taste buds with the capsaicin, and then if you introduce mint to it, you're reactivating those same taste buds.
Okay.
So it's gonna actually just enhance either one of the two flavors.
So that's why the milk comes in and kind of helps.
Because again, you're not when you're doing milk, honey, something like that, you're going to actually, it's going to flush over and like kind of dilute the capsaicin from interacting with the taste bud.
Okay. I agree with your answer. I would say that we're both right in a way. Because like I think
I would say I'm more right than you with bland.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my everyday existence. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's
No, you're good. But yeah, let's jump into this now. That was fun.
Let's get into it. I switched over here. Now, people follow along here. This is like I said, we have it up here on the YouTube, so you can watch this and follow along as the answers too. Drake, is it showing up for you there too on your
okay. Yep, I got
Which one should we start with? Which one do you want to start with?
So the one that we kind of just shot through quick. I mean, should you kill the fat man?
Yeah.
Let's, I mean, we can actually sit down and read that one, and go through it.
You want to read it then? You're a little more of a better reader than I am. I don't want to make this sound bad.
I don't know.
I'm actually not good of a reader.
So I can speed read decently well when I read books, but like reading out loud, I might make a few mistakes as well. So nobody's perfect here. I'm not going to judge. So should you kill a fat man? Preliminary questions. This is kind of like a question that you set up the moral principles. So this activity is a treatment of some of the issues thrown up by a thought experiment called the trolley problem. Which the trolley problem is kind of like a standard thought experiment for philosophy or like ethics or metaphysics, where it's basically you have a trolley that's going to hit 5 people on a train track. You can pull the lever. And the trolley is going to switch from the 5 people. It's going to switch to a track that has only 1 person on it. Should you pull the track, or would you pull the lever to switch that track? That's the standard trolley problem. Okay. So this is kind of like going to go from that, and it's going to probably shoot off into like a couple different scenarios that they have along with it. Which was first outlined by the philosopher Philippa Foot and then developed by Judith Jarvis Thompson and others. But before we start, promptly, we need to ask you 4 preliminary questions so we get a sense of the way that you think about morality. There are no right or wrong answers. Just select the option that most corresponds to your view. And again, that's an important thing when talking about philosophy, is that there are no right or wrong answers. Like, don't feel inclined to think one way or another. How you think about something or how you feel about something should be the way you answer this thing.
Correct,
So the answer to question 1, a lot of these answers will probably be pretty like majority, even super majority similar, but there could be outliers. There will be outliers. But question 1, torture as a matter of principle is always morally wrong. So
let's let's do something on the questions here that I think will be really fun. As soon as you read off the question, immediately answer, and I will do the exact same thing, and we will know then, like, without like digesting the question, let's answer it right away, and then
okay. Yeah,
and then that way we can both be like, oh, like okay, we agree, or okay, oh shit, okay, now we know we gotta fucking dive into this one.
Okay, we agree. Why do we agree though? Because maybe we both agree for 2 different reasons. But yeah. That's okay. So I would say on the count of 3, let's both answer. Ready?
Okay, yep.
I see where you're gonna choose already though. So 3, 2, 1. Yes.
Fuck! I didn't realize that was hovering over the question.
But yes, yeah. Obviously, a super majority would probably agree that torture is always morally wrong. However, you can think of scenarios where I think it would be justified.
Yeah, I can understand that.
It's still morally wrong, but I think you can have scenarios where it could be potentially justified. Yeah, you know what I mean? Somebody planted a bomb in New York City, and the only way to get where the bomb is and how to defuse it is to torture him.
Yeah.
I would be morally fine with having somebody torture him to get that information to save those X amount of lives. But that's the try problem. it's again like, where does that line start? You know, is it to save one life? Would you torture him to do that? I would still argue yes, because the guy committed a crime, which he throws his moral standards out the window.
Yep.
So morally standing on with them, I think they lose that kind of that moral high ground, or that moral level ground, I should say.
Okay, so I'm hitting submit on that one.
But yep, hit yes and submit. Okay. Preliminary question 2. The morality of an action is determined by whether, compared to the other available option, it maximizes the sum total of happiness of all the people affected by it. 1, 2, 3, yes. Okay, did you understand that question?
No.
I read it kind of fast. I can tell.
No. I didn't. The morality of an action is determined by whether, compared to the other. Okay, so it doesn't make sense. So like basically the option is like you're choosing the better option that basically makes the sum of everyone in the situation happy, rather than going with just like something that is going to benefit you in a quick time or whatever, and everyone else is kind of screwed. So.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're the person. So you can say that like overall that's good, but there's instances where that may not be a good thing. What the majority of people could bring happiness to them might not be the best answer. There's scenarios we could think of for that.
Yep.
But if you frame your morality or your choices based on the highest sum of happiness gained, then that's called utilitarianism. That's so you'd be a utilitarian. There are like very interesting thought experiments that you can do as a utilitarian to like challenge that utilitarian belief. But we can get into that later on if it does come up. So yes, submit.
Okay.
All right, question 3. It is always and everywhere wrong to cause another person's death, assuming they wish to stay alive, if this outcome is avoidable. 3, 2, 1, yes. No. All right. There's our first. Luke, why don't you tell me why you would say no then?
Well, I'm just going off of like what you said with the bomb idea. If this guy is bombing a mall and is considering, if his actions are that he wants to kill, multiple people, and he's the if he does, you know what I mean? Like I believe, you know what I mean? Like the death penalty, like I believe it's something that it is it's not wrong if there's a level of gauge that they've caused to other people.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. I think there is an important distinction to make between what's the word I'm looking for? There's an important distinction to make between like moral obligation versus moral choice. Moral obligation would be like, this is something you have to do morally, like this is 100% the best moral option to choose, versus moral choice. It's like, okay, this is your choice to make this moral suggestion. They're interchangeable, but there's maybe you can use that like that look to choose on the same question to choose different answers. So like for me, I would say it's always and everywhere wrong to cause another person's death. I like full stop, assuming they wish to stay alive. Even full stop. I think that's correct, but I do think there are instances where it's permissible.
Okay.
It's still not correct, but it is allowed.
So you're
what
like,
I mean?
You'd be like a soft yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's a soft yes. It's So I still think morally it's not morally good to take a life, but there are justifications for doing so in certain scenarios.
So which way do we answer? This ad better stop, by the way. This ad is going to make me climax before the end of the night. Like, I've been...
Jeez, yeah, what the heck is going on before there?
Make sure we're alone
even look at that
yet. At these photos.
Yeah, dude. What the hell are you putting on? Make sure you're alone before looking at these photos. Is it going to take us to freaking, like, Pornhub or something?
Yeah. By the way, can I just branch on something here quick that I got to tell you a funny story of? Not because I don't think we're going to get to Pornhub too many times tonight. I just need to tell you about something that happened that is going to crack up. So, full disclosure, everyone goes on the P-Hub when they need to, right? Like, you got to go on there. Can I tell you what the first fucking video was that showed up on Pornhub? Was a fucking guy playing Warzone. I loaded. I clicked on it. I clicked on it. I clicked on it just because I wanted to see if there was going to be anything. Maybe he was going to bring in a girl and they were going to like hang out and he was going to do that and like do her while playing Warzone and stuff. No, it was an entire 35-minute video of him playing a Warzone match and getting second place. And the comments were fucking gold. The one guy was like, "I've been scrolling long enough, and this is what I finished on." Like, that was, you know what I mean? Like, there was one guy who was like, "Not my proudest fap." You know what I mean? Like, that's
Like, you see that one everywhere,
dude. Like the fact that some guy like took the time to upload. Like, I'm gonna upload this to the fucking P-Hub. You know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah, we might as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new podcast location. So
yeah, the Limited Bonus podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, watching somebody play Warzone nowadays is like watching scat porn, so I can see why it'd be on there.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Dude, just not a good watch in any scenario.
The featured
I'd rather
video,
watch Battlefield 6.
Oh my god. The featured video wasn't, stepmom stuck in a dryer or, stepsister comes over and visits you. It was literally a guy playing Warzone. That was number one on Pornhub. I was so shocked. I did not, full disclosure, I did not rub one out to it. I definitely was not.
Okay, you don't have to lie to,
Yeah, so.
Oh, second place! Ah!
Oh, God. Yeah. Like, I'm climaxing as the round's finishing. All right, where do we go?
Last guy.
Where do we answer here? Like, what do you want to go with now?
Okay, so, so your answer is no.
I'm saying no, but you're a soft yes, so I think we should lean.
I'm a soft yes, so we'll go to no then. We'll submit.
Okay, submit.
Yep. Okay, so question 4. If you can save the lives of innocent people without reducing the sum total of human happiness and without putting your own life at risk, you are morally obliged to do so. On an answer on 3, 2, 1, no. Yeah. Okay, so why do you think no on this one?
Well, I go to the fact that, if you can save innocent people without reducing the sum total of human happiness and putting your own life in, I honestly, it's sad to say, but the world is just becoming more and more of me. The world is becoming more and more of, I just want to look out for me and my immediate people around me, and I don't fucking care. Like, you see it all the time where people are getting harmed and nobody does anything about it because nobody cares. Everyone is in their own lane, and that's just where I think society has gone nowadays. So I think for me, why should I morally go out of my way to do this stuff for people if I'm not going to receive that same, you know what I mean? And it's sad because I very well my life could be in danger. Someone could do something that could save my life. But nowadays, you're going to find like 95% of the human populace is going to just let that happen compared to the 5% that are going to be like heroic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, my answer, I mean, I definitely see and I agree with where you're coming from. My answer on no actually stems from, again, that distinction that I made with moral obligation versus just moral action, just standard, like morally, would you do this or not? Like moral action. Again, I think as like a normal person, I'm not, I'm a civilian. I'm not in the military. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a paramedic. I'm not driving a train. I'm not driving a school bus. I'm not flying a plane. I'm not like in any scenario where it gives me authority over a situation. You know what I mean? Or a security guard or anything like that. I'm not a doctor. Nothing like that. I'm not. So a moral obligation is meaning that I have to do this. those people in those situations, I think they have a moral obligation. If there was a police officer walking by and something was happening, he or she has a moral obligation to do something in that manner. But as a as a standard passenger, as a bystander,
Yep.
I don't think there is a moral obligation. Is there, is it the correct moral option to help out your fellow human? Absolutely. I think that is 100% the correct moral option,
Yeah.
but I don't think you have a moral obligation to do so.
And
I think about this a lot, like myself. If I were to see something happening, if I go to Walmart or something one day and I see something happening in the store, am I going to step in and help a person out? I don't know. I could step in to help out with the best of intentions, then I get stabbed, and all of a sudden now I'm gone, and I leave behind, everything and everyone that
it's a
needed.
It's a gauge situation. Am I going to stop and help an elderly lady change her tire? Yes, of course I will.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Am I
100%.
going to jump in front of a guy who's standing there to let myself get shot? No, that's you know what I mean. Like it's a gauge situation, and I just think, unfortunately, in our society, a lot of more people are leaning towards no, even in the worst of situations, even in the easy situation.
Right. Well, even
people
even in the easy situation, they're leaning towards no.
Yeah.
No, I think we both agreed on that one. There, we kind of had like
Fred Durst
similar answers.
Said it best: everybody sucks and everything is fucked.
Yep. That's why you want to know why. So these are the answers that everybody else gave. So the answer with torture, most people said no. Wrong. Yep, it's always wrong, and a decent amount though. It's not I wouldn't say it's the super majority, but it's the majority. The only time I would say it looks like maximize happiness, it's a lot closer than I thought. Even with the always wrong on cause of death versus that one, which we answered no on. Save innocent life. That one's the one that's like super majority in my opinion. As like most people think they are, and that's what's interesting here, because this graph, most people are saying that answer this question are saying that you're morally obliged to. So if you see something bad happening, you have to step in and help out. No, not even should, but have to, because you're obliged to. But that's most people are thinking and answering it that way, but they're not doing that in real life. So there's a discrepancy in how they think, and how they feel.
Yeah.
And then versus like what they're actually, what their actions are. So it's kind of interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, so let's continue on then. Those are the preliminary questions. Let's continue on to like what the actual scenario is itself.
Okay.
So we're going to be presented with 4 scenarios to test our moral intuitions against our answers that we gave. This first one was the runaway train scenario. The brakes on the train that Casey Jones is driving have just failed. There are 5 people on the track ahead of the train. There is no way that they can get off the track before the train hits them. The track has a siding leading off to the right, and Casey can hit a button to direct the train onto it. Unfortunately, there's one person stuck on the siding. Casey can turn the train, killing one person, or he can allow the train to continue onwards, killing 5 people. Should he turn the train and kill one person, or should he allow it to keep going and kill 5 people? We'll say our answers on 3, 2, 1.
Turn the train.
Allow the train to keep going.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
So for me, again, the scenario given here, it didn't state that Casey Jones was a conductor of the train. So I'm assuming that Casey Jones is just a standard bystander, just a passenger on that train. Because he's just a passenger, he's not morally obligated to press that button to switch the train from killing the 5 to killing the 1. Either way, Casey's going to have the conscience of killing on his mind. So if he doesn't partake in the conscience in the option of doing it, that's a little bit less of an that's making less of an ethical choice than actually choosing to kill one person. Because if he wasn't there, the train would still go on and kill those 5 people anyways.
Okay, I can understand why you answered that way.
So if he was a train conductor, I fully say he has the moral obligation to turn the train to maximize the.
So obviously we're reading into it as if he wasn't because they didn't say it.
Because they didn't state it, you know.
But
Yeah.
I see. That's why I lean towards the other way, because I assume that he's the driver of the train.
Oh, you did think he was the train?
Yes,
okay.
I assume that he's the train because he is driving the train.
Oh yeah, is driving. Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely.
So that's why.
Yeah, the brakes on the train. Casey Jones is driving. Yeah, no. Okay. So yeah, no. I think I must have overread that part. Driving.
Yeah,
have just failed. So then I agree. He has a moral obligation to turn the train.
Turn the train and save as many lives
Yep.
as possible.
Yep, he has to. Yep, so he has to.
Alrighty, we're continuing on. Scenario number deuce.
Nope, good catch, Luke.
Yes, sir.
All right, do you want to read this one then?
Sure.
Kind of take turns.
Good. Your response that Casey Jones should divert the train is consistent with your belief that the measure of morality is the extent of which the maximum of happiness the greatest number of people. Let's see how you get on with the scenario below. Marty Bakerman is on a footbridge above the train tracks. He can see that the train approaching the bridge is out of control, and that is going to hit 5 people who are stuck on the track just past the bridge. The only way to stop the train is to drop a heavy weight onto its path. The only available heavy enough weight is a very fat man who is also watching the train from the footbridge. Marty can push the fat man onto the track into the path of the train, which will kill him, but save the 5 people already on the track. Or he can allow the train to continue on its way, which will mean that the 5 will die. Should he push the fat man on the track with 1 dead, or allow the train to continue, 5 dead? And give our answers in 3, 2, 1. Allow the train to continue.
Yep. Allow the train to continue. And for me, I would say I would allow the train to continue for two reasons, actually. Again, that moral obligation comes up. So now we've removed the possibility of him being a train conductor, because now he's just somebody watching the train, you know?
Yep.
So there's no more moral obligation for him to act to do that now. Should he, I mean, I don't, that's the other hard part is now this one, could you say, should he be morally, like, is the moral best option? A utilitarian would still say yes, absolutely. But I'd still say no, because directly causing the death of another person is worse than indirectly causing the death of 5. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And you know that he didn't want to die. Like, you know that this guy falling to his death now is like, why did this guy do this? I did not want to die. This wasn't my last day. I want another cheeseburger. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And you know, dude, that guy falling down and then getting hit by the train, that's like got to be a very violent death for him too.
Oh, yeah, and
I think the you know, he's falling, he's hitting all kinds of rocks and shit as he's getting cut up and torn up, broken arms and legs before he actually lands in front of the train and is finally taken out. You know.
Well, then
so I mean, I think the violence of the death is also like you have to take in the violence of the death. Whereas like the 5 people on the tracks, they're just gonna hit by the train. That's gonna be it. They're not gonna feel anything. Yep. You know what I mean from that point on. So like even in that regard, I'd still say it's worse to kill the fat man.
Yep, I agree.
Yep. All right. So that one's I'll read this one. Previous research indicates that most people agree with you that the fat man should not be thrown off the bridge. However, this view seems to be inconsistent with your earlier claim that there is a moral requirement to maximize the happiness of the greatest number of people. This moral principle would appear to require that you save 5 people, even if it's the cost of 1 person's life. Indeed, this was probably your thinking when you stated that Casey Jones should divert the train so that it only kills 1 person. Perhaps your response to the scenario below will make your thinking here clearer. So that one. So because we said before that, you know, the best course is to always maximize the amount of happiness. Now saying that, you know, killing the fat man versus killing the 5 people is worse. That's not maximizing obviously the most amount of happiness. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that goes directly against what we said earlier.
I agree
right? Absolutely. But there's a reason why we changed our stance in that regard. That you know.
Yep.
Okay, the Sabotua. Okay, so this scenario is identical to the preceding scenario, but with one crucial difference. This time, Marty Bakerman knows with absolute certainty that the fat man on the bridge is responsible for the failure For the failure the trains brakes. For the failure of the train's brakes. That
Yeah.
threw me off for a
Whoops.
second, dude. Upset by train fare increases, he sabotaged the brakes with the intention of causing an accident. As before, the only way to stop the train and save the lives of the 5 people already on the track is to push the fat saboteur off the bridge into the path of the train. Should Marty McFly push the fat saboteur onto the track, or should he allow the train to continue? 3, 2, 1. Allow.
Allow.
Yep, I'm gonna say allow. Why do you think allow?
Same thing. Like you're not a fucking cop. Like this isn't something.
Yep, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like Marty here. Like why does Marty have to be? You know, sure. Could he be a hero here? Yes, he could be.
Absolutely.
But you know what I mean? Like he could definitely be a hero here. I'm sure the saboteur doesn't want to die, which also ties into the fact that he's not obligated here to do anything. Like he doesn't have to step in if he wants to and maybe earn the, you know, be like, oh my god, like he saved these 5 people, amazing, good job Marty, blowjob especially your life. Sure, he could do that, but he's not morally obliged to. He doesn't have to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, because again, killing one person, no matter if that person, and in my opinion, if somebody does this, they forfeit their moral ground. You know what I mean? So like that fat man, if that fat man did sabotage the train, and knowing full well that people are going to die because of that, then he forfeited his human decency. You know what I mean? Like that's fully gone for him now, in my opinion. But still, like you said, Marty's not a police officer. Marty went back in time, and this is what's happening now. You know, now he's not morally obliged to. But would he be morally justified if he did so? Absolutely, 100%. I think he would be. I think Morty 100%. Would absolutely be morally justified in doing so. I don't think anybody would really blink an eye at that. Yep. Some people would, but those people would be wrong. Continue.
Yep. Continue. All right. Last one for the scenario. Your response that it would not be right to throw the saboteur off the bridge shows that you do not think that his responsibility for the failure of the train's brakes is reason enough to end his life in order to save the lives of 5 other people. However, as noted before, there's a puzzle here in that giving up the chance to save lives of 5 people at the cost of just 1 life seems incompatible with your earlier claim that there is a moral requirement to maximize happiness on the greatest number of people. It'll be interesting to see whether ideas about the moral importance of happiness are a factor in how you view the scenario below. The Fat Man and the Ticking Bomb, Scenario 4. The Fat Man, having avoided being thrown in front of the runaway train, has been arrested and is now in police custody. He states that he has hidden a nuclear device in a major urban center and has primed it to explode in 24 hours' time. The following things are true. The bomb will explode in 24 hours. It will kill 1 million people if it explodes. If the bomb disposal experts get the bomb before it explodes, there's a chance it could be defused. The Fat Man cannot be tricked into revealing the location of the bomb, nor is it possible to appeal to his better nature, nor is it possible to persuade him that he was wrong to plant the bomb in the first place. If the Fat Man is tortured, then it is estimated there's a 75% chance that he will give up the bomb's location. If the man does not reveal the location, the bomb will explode and 1 million people will die. Is there no other way of finding out where the bomb is? There is no other way of finding out the bomb is located. Should the Fat Man be tortured in the hope that he will reveal the location of the nuclear device? 3, 2, 1, yes.
Yes.
100% yes.
That's
not even a question.
100%.
Fingers, nope. Fingernails, tongue, everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think I even said this earlier on actually as well. Again, you know, these are in the hands that the Fat Man is in the hands of the proper authorities that are morally obliged to do this to save the most amount of lives. So I think that's what it is. Now, if it was like a group of civilians that had the Fat Man and they had to torture him, I would probably say no in that regard.
Yep.
Because, again, the civilians don't have a moral obligation to do so. If I was in that scenario, would I do that then to save 1 million people? I can say right now, probably. Obviously, I'll hopefully never, ever be in that scenario, so I can't say for certain. But I would like to say morally, sure, I would. You know, even though I don't think I'm morally morally required to do so, I think I morally would do that just to save 1 million people. I mean, people I know, family, friends, and stuff would probably be in that blast. So,
and that's just it. And I think your your gain of your gain of doing that is a lot more your gain of doing that, of what you're going to gain from doing that, with saving those million people, probably becoming famous, all this stuff, or whatever, that is going to happen to you afterwards, outweighs the severity of torturing him. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty
Yeah.
much how that works out. Okay, well, I want to hit continue.
Yep. So this should tell us our results. Okay, so you can fill those out. Those are basically what Lucas filling out is just like the questionnaire of who you are, so they can log it in their data statistics. So your response that the fat man should be tortured is in direct contradiction with your earlier claim that torture, as a matter of principle, is always wrong. However, it does make sense in terms of other responses you have given. For example, you think that the morality of an action is determined by the extent to which it maximizes the happiness of the greatest number of people. It is certainly possible to argue that, where am I? Torturing the fat man is justified in these terms if it prevents, or there is good reason to think it might prevent, the detonation of a nuclear device. Also, on at least one occasion, you have responded that it would be right to end the life of one person to save the lives of some other greater number of people. It would be strange then if you did not think it might sometimes be right to torture a person, if by doing so it might be possible to save all those people whose lives would otherwise be lost in a nuclear explosion. Perhaps then you should revisit your blanket opposition to torture. I thought, did we say no to torture? I thought we said, yeah, it was chill to torture.
No, we said it was morally, like, it's not good to do that.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, overall, morally, no, it's not good to torture. But
Yeah.
again,
It's just I find it funny though, because
scenarios.
like that first question, like that they said, is it morally bad to torture someone? Of course it is. But when you give us one of the most extreme
Yeah.
responses as to why you should torture someone, you're gonna torture the person. Like,
Yeah,
he's about to
absolutely,
kill
yeah.
a million people. Of course, I'm gonna torture him to defuse the bomb. I'm not gonna fucking, you know what I mean?
There's no way to, yeah, absolutely.
It's not like it was like oh, hey, Carl shoplifted a store. Are you gonna rip his fingernails out now?
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
need to torture this dude.
no, of course I'm not
This
going
guy
to.
stole a bag of Doritos.
Yeah,
you
guy
know.
stole a bag of Doritos and some Funyuns.
You and 5 other civilians in the sidewalk. They're gonna torture him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's why I agree with that when they're, All
Yep.
right, here's our analysis. So,
Okay, so your consistency. Okay, we're in the lower half of the consistency with the average. The first thing to note is that your consistency score is 50%. This is less than the average score that is for this test, where higher is better, which is 77. It is often thought to be a good thing if one's moral choices are governed by a small number of consistently applied moral principles. If this is not the case, then there is the worry that moral choices are essentially arbitrary, just a matter of intuition or making up as you go along. Suppose, for example, you think that it is justified to divert the train in the first scenario simply because it's the best way to maximize human happiness, but you do not think its justification applies in the case of the fat man on the bridge. The problem here is that unless you are able to identify morally relevant differences between the two scenarios, then it isn't clear what role the justification plays in the first case. Put simply, it seems that the justification is neither necessary nor sufficient for the moral judgment that it is right to divert the train. In light of your somewhat disappointing performance in this test, geez, dude, thanks.
wow.
You might want to spend some time examining how you think about morality. However, before you embark on this task, we suggest you check out the next page of analysis.
Jeez.
So Glenn, you can, yeah. I think we did a good job though, justifying or providing proof as to why our choices would differ. I don't think we're just choosing willy-nilly. You know what I mean? The different thing here, and I don't think that obviously the site is just a pre-written site. So if there was a site where you can like label why you justified it, then it would probably say, blah blah blah. You're inconsistent, but you have moral standing for justification on your inconsistencies.
Yeah, but like I didn't expect this website to question every fiber of my being. Like that was
dude, it does.
Move.
Yeah, no, it wants to question your beings and your fibers, dude.
Okay, so the trolley problem, analysis 2. The scenarios featured in this activity have been constructed to elicit contrasting intuitions about whether it is justified to end the life of one person in order to save the lives of some greater number of people. Part of what is interesting here is what this tells us about consequentialist approaches to moral thinking. For example, straightforward utilitarianism, which holds that an act is morally right to extent that it maximizes the sum of total happiness of all the people affected, which compared to the other available options would seem to require an affirmative response to all questions below. However, we know from previous research that such consensus is unlikely. In particular, very few people tend to think that a fat man should be pushed off the bridge in order to save the lives of a few people stuck on the track. The fact that this option is so counterintuitive to so many people represents a significant challenge to straightforward utilitarian thinking. These charts are how they have been responded to date. So turn the trolley, everyone said yes. Majority said yes to avoid having to worry about killing the 5 people on the track. The 1 person is good enough. 62% said no to pushing the fat man off the bridge, which makes sense, I think, to everyone. Saboteur off the bridge, we were in the no column for that, and that's what's
Yeah,
really
we were in the no
interesting,
column
is
for that
where
one.
77% of people said that you should push the saboteur off the bridge and save the 5 lives.
Yep.
And then, yeah, like I said, in extreme circumstances, although it's morally wrong to do that, you should not, or you should torture.
So then there's analysis 3 there as well.
Yeah, let's go to that.
Let's click. Okay, this is just like talking about like potential like other stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the homepage then.
Yeah, like I said,
yes, I mean that was.
Let us know kind of what you guys
interesting.
think too about if you guys answer those questions, or if you guys have any insight into that as well. Let us know what you think you would do, or that's pretty pretty interesting.
Yeah, let us know if you liked this as well. We can go ahead and there's obviously you guys can see there's a ton more on here that we can do. If you guys liked this and you liked us talking about this or our differences, let us know. You want to tell us you want to see more, and we'll try to do more.
That was you know what I'm very shocked at, that we actually I can't say that. Morally, we both have a pretty good compass. I wasn't really surprised that we were answering things on that one. I would be interested to do this again and revisit another episode where we do this, and I would be very curious to find one where we differ so much, because I would like to argue those points and kind of
right. Absolutely,
there wasn't much debate here because it was such a spectrum of
Right. I mean, there's kind of a straightforward, but that was a good intro to this, though. That's kind of like the trolley problem is kind of like the main intro problem to philosophy, ethics, and metaphysics and whatnot. So that was kind of like a good intro here with that. We can I can go through some of them and just find some that might have like a little bit more, or like make me think a little bit. And the question one, I don't want to go too far into the questions to kind of get my pre-thought on it. I kind of want to keep it like. We can definitely do more of these. These are
you
fun.
Done, and we'll go in raw together, and we'll kind of really play off of the things. All right. Well, any closing arguments on the Fat Man?
I mean, just not a good guy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, like
overall, not a good guy.
If you tell me that you're gonna hide a nuclear bomb in an area that's gonna kill 1 million people, and you're not gonna be swayed to give me the answer, give me those fingernails, bud. That's those,
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it. I mean, honestly, though, if that's like the full scenario, the people that said yes to push him off the bridge, killing him, just killed those 1 million people.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's
right.
Those 77% people that said yes on that. Those are absolutely 100% wrong.
That's 100%.
So that I just thought of that right now. Those people are wrong. 100% just objectively. Because look at that, dude. See, morality wins. This is why we have the best moral understandings here.
Eventually they would have traced that back to him anyways, post death, and they would have and then you'd have the initial like I saved 5 people, but then the initial guilt of like I just killed 1 million, so it's 5. You know what I mean? Like you're 5. once again, I honestly
You're
think
negative
I think
nine
you,
hundred ninety-five
I think
thousand
you just cracked the website. I
or
think the website,
999,996,
yeah, I think the website's wrong.
whatever it is,
Like, I
5.
think you just changed the
Yeah.
website because, like,
Yep.
if we're trying to find the moral happiness, the sum of all the total, that's exactly what you just did. Is the million people are the sum of the total of happiness. We at the end of it, we did reach the total level of happiness because we,
Yep.
like you said, we made 999, thousand
Yeah.
people
Yeah. 999,995.
happy compared to 5 people who are dead.
Yep. Fully.
Yeah, yeah. That's. Have you? All right. Quick caveat to this before we end this episode. Have you ever seen the movie Law Abiding Citizen with Gerard Butler?
Yes. That's an awesome movie.
Now, this is a question for you. If that happened to your family, are you doing what he did?
Yes.
Okay. I see. That's
Yeah.
my mind went to this when it came to all the morality of stuff. When
Yeah.
he was that wrong, when he was done that wrong from the justice system and the criminals and stuff, are you going to that extent? And I would agree that I would too. Such a badass movie, though.
No.
What a
it is a
badass
cool movie.
That movie is planned for him from the beginning. It's a great movie.
I gotta watch that movie again. It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, I'm due for that as well too. I definitely go check out Law Abiding Citizen if you haven't seen it. It's a very
Yep,
good
absolutely.
movie.
Watch that movie. And I have a shout out too. So this is when I was getting into philosophy, somebody that the person actually turned me onto that website as well. He's on YouTube. His name is Alex O'Connor. Awesome content that he puts out for philosophy and whatnot. He has a lot of good. He does a lot of debates. So really smart, intelligent man. Really, really well spoken. Really well thinking. And very, very well mannered as well. And his takes on it are very interesting. But so if anybody's interested further in learning further on this stuff, check that out. 100%. It's awesome. Free information on YouTube.
Drake, I got a surprise for you guys. Bring him in. He just pops in.
Dude, that would be wild,
Holy
dude. I wouldn't lie. I'd be kind of upset that he's in. He's British, so I mean, I guess it'd make more sense that he would be in Canada than the U.S.
Would you be more freaked out at the fact that I knew that you watched him?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because that's like one of those things. The last episode you were talking about, just like random stuff that I do that I'm like really into that you have no idea about.
Yeah.
Alex O'Connor is one of them.
Yeah.
I listen to his podcast and stuff quite frequently. So.
Yeah.
So the fact that if you were able to figure out that and then invite him in, that would have been crazy.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
That would have been good. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yep. Let us know.
Let us know about your stuff in the comments there. And we'll see you on the flip side.